Everyone, welcome to the Mifratech. Today we are going to see a new language called JavaScript. Welcome to the session 1. Let's see the introduction of JavaScript and how it works and many more. What is JavaScript? JavaScript is a lightweight object-oriented programming language which is used by the several websites for scripting a web pages. JavaScript is a scripting language where similar like to that, PHP is also in a scripting language. It is an interpreted, fully fledged programming language that enables dynamic interactivity on website when applied to an HTML document. Here we are not directly writing in a JavaScript code. It will be interlinked with an HTML to give a attractive web pages. And JavaScript was introduced in the year 1995 for adding a programs to the web pages in the Netscape Navigator browser. The traditional website uses a JS to provide several forms of interactivity and simplicity. Some features of JavaScript are: it allows the syntax and structure of C programming language, thus it is a structured programming language. JavaScript is a weakly typed language where certain types are implicitly cast depending on the operation. It is an object-oriented programming language that uses prototypes rather than using a class or inheritance. In many other programs, like we take a object-oriented, there we use a classes and a functions like a inheritance. Here it is used by the prototypes. It is a lightweighted and a interpreted language and case-sensitive language. It is supportable by several operating systems including Windows, Mac OS, any operating systems. It provides a good control to user over the web browsers. Application of JavaScript. JavaScript is to create an interactive website. It is a better way to creativity, and it is mainly used for a client-side validation, dynamic drop-down menus, displaying date and time, displaying pop-up windows and dialog box like an alert dialog box, confirm dialog box and a prompt dialog box. This will work when you register the form in a browser. It will be displayed like a pop-up dialog box will be displayed, the registration was successful, displaying cookies and many more applications of JavaScript, and in many more further way the JavaScript has been used. Let's go to an example, the simple example. JavaScript is easy to code. It provides 3 places to put the JavaScript code: within the body tag, within a head tag, and an external JavaScript. We can write in a way with your use. We can write within a body or within a head tag or external JavaScript. When we write an external JavaScript, we have to link to the document. The simple creation of a JavaScript is script and a closing script, document.write hello JavaScript by JavaScript. Here you can see the script tag specifies that we are using in a JavaScript. This is the tag where the JavaScript has been used. Tell the script we have been used. The text JavaScript is the content type that provides an information to the browser about the data. The document.write function is used to display a dynamic content through a JavaScript. Like when we write in a print statement or any statement, like document.write is also here to write in a content. Let's discuss about the JavaScript basics. JavaScript comment, the first one. The JavaScript comments are meaningful way to deliver a message. It is used to add information about the code, warnings or suggestions to an end user can easily interpret the code. The JavaScript comment is ignored by the JavaScript engine that is embedded in the browser. Advantages of JavaScript comments. We can tell the comment in any programming language that is useful when we commit an end-to-end encryption, like to interrupt the code when we are using and any other coder will use, the comment section will work easily. There are two main advantages of a JavaScript comments: to make code easy to understand, because when we are end users, the code can be easily understood, and to avoid the unnecessary data. When we are coding part, the comments will mention, oh, this is this sector, and this is for the pop-up block, and this is for the dialog box. It will be easy to understand and to avoid unnecessary code. It can also be used to avoid the coding being executed. Sometimes we add the code to perform some action, but after some time there may be a need to disable the code. In such case, it is better to use the comments. There are two types of JavaScript comments: single line comment and a multi-line comment. JavaScript single line comment work with double forward slashes. The example script double slash, it is a single line comment. Document.write hello JavaScript. The comment will be waved off. The hello JavaScript will be displayed. Java multi-line comment, it can be used to add a single as well as on a multi-line comments also. It is represented by the forward slash with the asterisk, then asterisk with the forward slash. Starting with the forward slash, asterisk, then closing in a comment, asterisk, then a forward slash. You can see the example here. Here also the comments will be waved off by the web browser or ignored by the web browser. It will display example of JavaScript multi-line comment. Next, we are moving to the JavaScript variable. The JavaScript variable is a simple a name of storage location. Obviously, a variable is a code when we execution of a program. It is a name storage. There are two types of in JavaScript: local and a global variable. There are some rules when we are declaring a JavaScript variables, as known as also a identifiers. Name start with a letter, underscore or a dollar sign. It could not start with a number. After first letter, we can use a digit. For example, value 1, N1, like that. JavaScript variables are case sensitive. For example, X and X are different variables. It will take a different variables when we put on a variable small x and variable and a big X. It will take a different values. Correct JavaScript variables and incorrect JavaScript variables, you can see the difference. Variable X is equals to 10 and variable underscore value is equal to so no. Incorrect variable 1, 2, 3, it is the error will be thrown by the web browser, or error will be thrown by the coding part. Variable asterisk double A is equals to 320. This is not a writing part of a code. Then we are here some of the variables we are seeing in the examples. Variable X is equals to 20, variable Y is equals to 20, variable Z is equals to X plus Y, the addition of two numbers. When we declare in a document dot write Z, it will perform an operation of addition, and then it will be displayed as the total output as 30. 10 plus 20 is equals to 30, because we have been declared a variable X as 10, Y as 20, and we are performing a variable Z as an addition operation, X plus Y. The return output was document.write Z, it will throw in 30 as an output. JavaScript local variable. A local variable is declared inside block or a function. It is accessible within the function or block only. For example, function function name, the function name was the ABC, and variable has been declared. That variable has been considered as the local variable. Global variable, A JavaScript global variable is accessible from any function or inline or block, does not matter. It is accessible by any function. A variable that is declared outside the function or declared with the window object is known as a global variable. For example, you can see we are declared a variable data is equals to 200. Then we are calling in a function name document dot write in data. We are closing in a function. Then another function has been called with the function name b. Then document dot write in data. Then we are calling in a JavaScript function as a. The function name has been calling a and b. It will display the output as 200 and 200 because here it does not have any rules, like we can declare anywhere. We have declared first variable data is equals to 200 and the similar output has been given. JavaScript data types. JavaScript provides a different data types to hold a different type of values. There are two data types in JavaScript: primitive data type and non-primitive data type. Non-primitive refers to a reference data type. JavaScript is a dynamic type language, means you don't need to specify a type of the variable because it's dynamically used by the JavaScript engine. You need to use a var here to specify the data type. It can hold any type of value such as numbers, strings. Example, variable a is equals to 40. It takes an automatic data type. It is called as an int. Variable b, it takes automatic as a character. Rahul, holding any string data type. Some are the primitive data types. There are 5 primitive data types. There are many more. We have taken 5. String, number, boolean, undefined and null. String represents a sequence of characters. Numerical values. Boolean, it represents either true or false. Undefined represents the undefined value. It can be any value. There is no value at all. Null, it defines a null value, no value. And some of the non-primitive data types are object, array and regular expression. Object represents instance through which we can access members, and array represents a group of similar values. Regular expression represents the regular expression what we have given. Next we will move on to the JavaScript operators. JavaScript operators are the symbols that are used to perform operations on operands. For example, variable sum is equals to 10 plus 20. In previous slides, I have explained in a variable z is equals to x plus y. This is a addition of two numbers, or we can declare with this the sum, like variable sum is equals to 10 plus 20. It is called as an arithmetic operator, where here plus is the arithmetic operator and is equals to is an assignment operator. It will be given and the output has been shown. There are some types of operators here: arithmetic, comparison, bitwise, logical, assignment and a special operator. Arithmetic operators perform these functions. Arithmetic operators are used to perform arithmetic operations on operands. The following operators are known as JavaScript arithmetic operators. Some of the functions or some of they will perform: plus, minus, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, increment, decrement. We can perform easily. And comparison operation is equal to, identical, not equal to, not identical, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. And bitwise operator is bitwise and, bitwise or, bitwise XOR. You have to be familiar with the operator with the description, because when we are giving in a bitwise and we are performing in a bitwise or, it will get to the false operations. And bitwise left shift and bitwise right shift with a 0, it will perform. Logical operator, logical and, logical or and logical not. Here you can see an example familiar to the operation and description, operation and operand. You can see an example in every operators. 10 double equals to 20 is equals to false, double equals to, and bitwise, and logical. Then assignment operator, assign, add and assign, subtract and assign, multiply and assign, divide and assign, modulus and assign. The similar examples for add and assign, where variable is equals to a is equals to 10, a plus is equals to 20, now a is equals to 30. We are adding, add and assign. Then some of the special operators are there. Conditional operator returns value based on the condition. It is like if else. Comma operator, delete operator, in operator checks if objective has given the property. Instance of new creates a new instance of object. Type of checks the type of object. Void, it discards the expression's return value. Yield, and many more. Next, we are moving to a conditional statements like if statements. JavaScript if else. JavaScript if else statement is used to execute the code whether condition is true or false. If statements. There are three forms of if statement in JavaScript: if else, and if else if. JavaScript if statement, it evaluates the content only if the expression is true. If statement executed when the content or the condition is when it is true. You can see the syntax: if expression a is greater than 20 and variable declared as 20, if a is greater than 10, the value is greater than 10, the output will be displayed. Then if else statement, it evaluates the content where the condition is true or false. Here in syntax you can see if expression else another content, another, if the first expression is true, then it will check the next expression, then it will be displayed the output. If first expression is false and next expression will be tested, and then it will be displayed as the output. For example, a even and an odd number, a is equals to 20, if a modulus 2 double equals to 0, document dot write it is an even number, or else it is an odd number. JavaScript if else if statement, it evaluates the content only if expression is true from several expressions, not from the one expression. When it will be condition is applied, when the several number of times and any several number of conditions is applied, they perform with many expressions, like if expression 1 is true, then expression 2 is true, then expression 3 is true, then expression 4 is false, and then it will show as many output. If here you can see the syntax: if expression 1, else if expression 2, else if expression 3, else, then the output will be displayed. Next, JavaScript switch statement. The JavaScript switch statement is used to execute one code from multiple expressions, not several expressions, from multiple expressions. Like we can take an example of a grade. It is just like a else if statement that we have learned in the previous slide, but it is convenient than if else if, because it can be used with the numbers, characters, etc. The syntax was switch expression, case value 1 code to be executed. Break, here the break you are used to break the condition. If you take a marks, if a case switch expression case value a, if a is greater than 90 and we has been displayed the grade value a, so we have entered the marks a, it will be breaks the statement and it will be output will be displayed. And if any condition was not satisfied, the default statement will be executed. JavaScript loops. The JavaScript loops are used to iterate the piece of code using for, while, do while and for in loops. It makes the code compact. It is mostly used in array. Let's say there are 4 types of loops in JavaScript: for loop, while loop, do while loop and for in loop. For loop, the JavaScript for loop iterates the elements for the fixed number of times. It should be used if the number iteration is known. When the for loop was being used, it means when the iteration is known, when we are printing 1 to 10 numbers, then the for loop will be used. When we don't know the printing the how many numbers to the n numbers, then another statement will be used. The syntax for initialization, condition and increment. Initialization, if for a is equals to 1, the condition a less than or equals to 10, then increment a plus plus, it will be displayed how many number of times the numbers will be displayed, and the code could be executed. Then JavaScript while loop. The JavaScript while loop iterates the element for the infinite number of times. The difference between the for and the while loop is the for loop will be executed when the iteration of number is known. While loop, it will display the infinite number of times. While condition, while if a is greater than 1, the code has been given a is minus 100, it will be executed so on when the 1 is true. Do while. The JavaScript do while iterates the elements for the infinite number of times like while loop, but code is executed at least once whether condition is true or false. When do while, the code is executed once, then the condition has been checked. In while loop, the condition has been checked, then the code to be executed. JavaScript functions. JavaScript functions are used to perform operations. We can call JavaScript function many times and reuse the code. Advantage of JavaScript function. There are mainly two advantages of JavaScript functions: code reusability and less coding. In code reusability, we can call function several times to save coding. Less coding can make our program compact. We don't need to write many lines of code each time to perform a common task. The function syntax, JavaScript function syntax. Function, function name and arguments. It will work with an array. JavaScript function can have a 0 or more arguments. Function arguments, we can call function by passing arguments. For example, function get cube number, alert number, script, the script JavaScript has been closed. Then we are creating in a form, input time is equals to button, value click on get cube 4. When we are clicking on a button, it will goes on, iterates the calling in a function several times. Function with return value, we can call function that returns a value and use it in our program. Syntax script, when we are using a return value, the value has been returned in our program and function has been executed in simultaneously. JavaScript function object. In JavaScript, the purpose of a function constructor is to create a function object. It executes the code globally. However, if we call the constructor directly, a function is created dynamically but in unsecured way. We have to create a new function object, then we have to code. If the function object the constructor directly, the function will be unsecured way, and it leads to a crash also. Syntax, new function and arguments, and then the function body, then the coding part to be executed. Some of JavaScript function methods: apply, bind, call, toString. Apply, it is used to call function contains this value and a single array of arguments. Bind, it is used to create a new function. Call, it is used to call a function value and argument list. toString, it returns a result in a form of a string. And thank you for this session. We will discuss in other of the JavaScript with the session 2.